Alright, yeah, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of standard Brawl. So it is not Wednesday, but that doesn't mean we can't play Brawl, because guess what, there is one event where you can play Brawl every day of the week, and that's arenabrawl.net. arenabrawl.net is one of the very few ways that you can actually play Brawl on a non-Wednesday. The other one is Brawl Hall, and that's it. There is no other way to play Brawl. It's pretty great. So you just direct challenge strangers on the internet, and yeah, you get to play as much as you want for free. Unfortunately, you know, there's a bug where it doesn't give you daily progression because reasons. Brawl is not real Magic, so why should it give you dailies or anything like that? Today we're actually going to be playing a Haktos deck. So Haktos is one out of the new Theros set. He's a pretty interesting commander. He's very interesting to build around, and I think the way that we've built it is probably the only real way of building a Haktos list. Because the problem is he's not very interactable, but he is very much your primary, secondary, and tertiary win con. So he's 4 mana, very restrictive on the colours as well. 2 red, 2 white, but he is a 6/1 that attacks each combat if able. So your opponents don't have too much time before Haktos ends up ending the game. When he enters the battlefield, you get to choose 2, 3, or 4 at random, and then Haktos has protection from each converted mana cost other than the chosen number. And other is very important, because even myself, when I've been playing games with this card, have fallen into the trap of misreading my own card and killing my own Haktos. Haktos' biggest enemy is yourself and your inability to read cards, which is not something I do very well, as many of you may know if you've been following this channel long enough. So, we're going to be putting him into a Boros control shell. The one fun thing about Haktos is that he has protection from some certain board wipes in the game, so long as that other than chosen number is not the same number as your board wipes. Can you see why I sometimes kill my own Haktos? So we've got things like Deafening Clarion, we've got Solar Blaze. Single combat's one way you can't really go wrong with single combat. Each player chooses a creature or planeswalker they control and then sacrifices the rest, and then players can't cast creature or planeswalker spells until the end of your next turn, which is not something we'll be doing very often, so that restriction doesn't apply to us. And 9 times out of 10 we've only got Haktos on board anyway. We do have a couple of creatures in here, but they're mostly either doubling down as kind of removal or ways of dealing additional damage over a short period of time, or good blockers. So we've got things like Bone Crusher Giant, which is basically a 2-mana shock on the stomp, but can then become a 4/3, which deals damage whenever it's targeted, which is pretty great, because our opponent's probably going to be forced to target it with spells at some point during the game if Haktos is dealing 6 damage every single turn from as soon as turn 3. The only way we've got of getting Haktos to turn 3, unfortunately, is Arcane Signet, because there isn't actually any more 2-mana ramp in Boros colours. That's I don't think there's any at all, but if there is, I probably looked at it and it wasn't worth it. But yeah, we do have Boros Locket to fix as well. It's very important that we have the double red and double white, so we got that going for us as well, but we don't really want too many mana rocks because we can usually safely enough get to turn 4 anyway. But yes, we've got a lot of card advantage as well. Things like Furious Rise at the beginning of your end step. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you get to exile the top card of your library, and you can play that until you exile another card. So Haktos enables this on his own, and that's all you really need to do. You don't need a deck full of 4-drops to enable this card, because your Haktos is usually not going anywhere. I will say that his biggest weakness is non-targeting removal spells, so board wipes that do not target or deal damage. Things like Planar Cleansing and, you know, Cast Down, I think it's called. The giant one, anyway, the Realm Cloak giant one. Things like that are going to be enemies of Haktos. The rest of it, though, it should be able to dodge just nicely, so we want to be removing cards that can block Haktos, so if we hit 2s, we want to be killing all the 2-drops, and we've got all the removal in the game for that kind of thing. I was mentioning card advantage as well. We also have Chandra Fire Artisan as a bit of card advantage, and Chandra Acolyte of Flame kind of doubles down as card advantage, I would say, because her -2 allows her to cast instants and sorceries with converted mana cost 3 or less from our graveyard, so that does include another board wipe, which is really nice. but it also includes lots of removal, and Chandra's Triumph's in here as well as a 3 damage to a creature or planeswalker, which is nice and versatile. Doesn't hit opponent's face, which is less than ideal, but it's good enough as it is. And if we got Chandra in play, it's 5 damage as well, so it really just punches upwards. If we've got a problem with big spells, we do have a little bit of removal for those kind of things. We've got Elspeth Conquers Death, which exiles a permanent with convert mana cost 3 or greater. And then on the Chapter 2, allows us to tax our opponent for non-creature spells, which is really nice. If your opponent's going to try and control us, that's a nice time to replay something. And then the Chapter 3, I will give a warning on this one. It's not a good idea to put your Haktos in the graveyard with an Elspeth Conquers Death. The reason for that is that your opponent can have any number of enchantment removal spells in their hand, and if they remove that and your Haktos is in the graveyard, that is game over. It's literally not worth the risk of using that 3 mana spell. If you're in some sort of colour that doesn't deal with enchantments, like black, if it's mono black, go right ahead, kill your Haktos. But I think pretty much every other colour under the sun can deal with this card on the off chance, and you just really, it's not worth the risk at all. So something to keep in mind there. I mean, even Meteor Golem is a colourless card that can go into any deck and deal with Elspeth Conquers Death, so not worth it. Ignore that 3 altogether. As I mentioned, we do have some planeswalkers in here, and we do have some creatures in here, but most of the time, this is just a really nice removal spell with a tax effect. It's just very good for a control deck, essentially. We've got Chandra Awakened Inferno as an alternative win condition, and then to a certain aspect as well, we got Eugene the Ineffable, who can tick up and make 2/2s and build an army that way. Outlaw's Merriment can clog up the board, which is something we really want to do, because once Haktos is down, clogging up the board is maybe our primary concern, secondary only to just removing whatever our opponent has to threaten us. I'd say the bad matchups for this deck are going to be Niv Mizzet, mostly because that deck is full of non-targeting based removal, things like Angrath's Rampage and board wipes. That's going to be a very big stickler for us. They also have just like extreme card advantage, and you really never know to be sure what a Niv Mizzet deck is running, so it's pretty hard to play around cards. All you know is that it's going to be jam-packed full of multicolored effects, which is basically an effect that can do anything. So it's very hard to play around that deck, and I find that I lose most of the time with Haktos, but it's not without its ability to just win on the spot. You know, if our opponent doesn't have the number of mana costs to deal with Haktos, then we can just run away with the game. It's all very matchup dependent. But yeah, sweepers, we got Flame Sweep, Deafening Clarion, we got Solar Blaze, single combat, and yeah, we're just really in a good position to wipe our opponent's board consistently as well. Oh, Chandra Awakened Inferno as well, 3 damage to each non-elemental. We have got some gotcha cards as well. Something our opponent might not be playing around is double attacks for Haktos. If they do the math to say that they've got an extra turn, we can actually bamboozle them a little bit. Perforos's Intervention has a hasty little trample creature, which can push through a little bit of additional damage, which is nice. But the big ones are going to be Chance for Glory, which is probably the only time this card has actually seen any good play. Creatures you control gain indestructible, and you take an extra turn after this one, which means you get an extra Haktos attack, and if you don't win on that time, you lose the game. But Haktos, incredibly hard to interact with, so you're either going to lose it by default anyway, or you're just going to win the game, and that lose the game clause on the end there just doesn't matter. And then there's also Resurgence, which doubles up as a removal spell for 5 damage attacking and blocking creatures. But the Resurgence, 5 mana, to give us an additional combat step, first strike and vigilance, is really cool. We don't have to use this one to win the game necessarily. We can use this one to give Haktos the ability to attack through something that might kill him, and also give vigilance as well, which means he's got a very, very good block on whatever our opponent's got to do. Also keep in mind that Questing Beast, if you block that, it does say damage can't be prevented. I believe also Stomp on Bone Crusher Giant also says damage can't be prevented, which will get around the protection on Haktos if you block with it, or if your opponent's capable of blocking with it and they manage to deal 1 damage somehow. Just keep that in mind. If it says damage can't be prevented, protection will not protect you. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to leave it at that. The deck pretty much speaks for itself. We're going to be controlling the board and just playing Haktos and winning. Hopefully we get the right numbers, because this is very much an RNG fiesta as far as the 2, 3, and 4 at random is concerned, and it's very matchup dependent as to which number is actually the preferred number. I would say 2 is probably the number you want, since most of our board wipes are 3 and 4. We don't really want to be wiping the board or having cards in our hand that are very useless because we've got Haktos and we don't want to kill our own creature. I have done that many a time, as I stated. So, yeah. Let's get into some gameplay. One of the matchups is actually from the stream where I played this for the first time. I was very tired during that game as well, so there might be a few punts. There certainly were in the future matchups, which I won't be showing because they were very embarrassing. But yes, the rest of it is recorded today through arenabrawl.net. So, without further ado, let's get into the gameplay. If you enjoy the deck, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know what you think of the deck down in the comment section below. Take care, guys. Protection from himself. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, that's not bad. I thought you were going to say something like, if he doesn't trigger his enter the battlefield ability, then he's got protection from everything, which is not true. I confirmed that. It is definitely not true. This hand has a turn 4 Haktos, so I'm going to keep it. What more could you want? Opponent's playing Grunk, Cursed Huntsman, 6 mana, 5 loyalty. Create some wolves, destroy a creature, draw cards, and then overrun permanently. It's pretty cool. Alright. Opponent mulled pretty aggressively there, I'd say. Yeah, if Haktos doesn't trigger his enter the battlefield ability, then he doesn't choose any of them. And therefore, this thing here, when it mentions the chosen number, because you didn't choose a number, he has protection from nothing, essentially. Which is a shame, because that would be one way to go about it, just making a 4-mana Progenitus. Alright, Birth of Meletis. Let me know, guys, if all of the sounds and whatnot are up to par. Because it has been a while since we streamed. I don't think I've changed anything, but you just never know, right? Yeah, I guess I'm just going to go with Boros Locket. On the off chance we want to use Elspeth Conquers Death, then we'll want that 5th mana. Sounds good? Awesome. That's what I like to hear. Alright, they're at 3 mana. And we are at the dream mana cost right here. Oh yeah. So I can Cavalier, I can Elspeth Conquers Death, I can wipe the board. The protection from everything but 3. That's going to be potentially quite bad. Who knows? We might even say it's been too long. Brother! It's been too long. Yes, it has. Alright. Let's get in for 6. So what are we afraid of? What's on 3 mana? Murder. Murderous Rider. There's not really too much, to be honest. I think I might crack Boros Locket just for the card advantage. Yeah, that we have protection from. Gonna have to race me on that one. What are the 3 drops are we going to be afraid of? Questing Beast? Well, it looks like we're going to be going with a Solar Blaze here. Because these 2 are very good for being removed. Am I going to want to play a 3-drop? Nah. Let's just draw the cards. Before our opponent removes it, we'll be upset. Nice. Well done, Gideon. I'll keep that 4 for now. This actually won't... Ooh, Torbran. Well, let's get in there, shall we? Solar Blaze. Everything deals damage equal to its power to itself. Lull. Alright, I'm going to start thinning my deck because clearly we're drawing too many lands. Boop. And get in for 6. Hello, Awood. How we doing, buddy? Alright. If they play Grunk, we've got Elspeth Conquers Death, or Cavalier of Dawn. We probably want to play Cavalier first, because if it dies, then we can reanimate it with Elspeth Conquers Death. I guess you could also make an argument for this one first, because if this dies, then Cavalier's secondary ability has a target. Actually, we have Bertha Militis or Boris Lockett, so that's okay. Okay, Fine Broker gets back Night Pack Ambusher. Had jazz lessons today. Ooh. Tell me more. I think we are going to go with Torbran. Oh, you know what we've got? We've got a Vigilant Haktos, because we don't have protection from 3, which means Gideon can give Vigilance to Haktos. Oh, that's dirty. Oh, the unintended, but clearly intentional consequences. Ooh, piano and jazz. I like it. Yeah, let's give her the old Vigilante, I think. So now I can block and have protection from all the creatures, including Night Pack Ambusher. Assassin's Trophy on Torbran, okay. I will, I'll grab a planes. Alright, so we don't have lethal next turn necessarily, but Keeper of Fables, okay. They've got 2 mana. I actually do have lethal, don't I? Lol. Do I have lethal? Actually, hang on. Elspeth Conquers Death, Prison Realm, yeah. Cool. Yeah, so we get rid of both their blockers, we swing for 10. Alright. Clearly, this deck is overpowered and should be banned. We are 100% win rate with it right now. So, what more could you ask for? How about a God Eternal Ronus? Nice. Nice. Was that from the Master? Alrighty then, we're in, and we're missing 1 white for Haktos, but other than that, the hand seems reasonably okay. I guess I don't really care too much for Aurelia here, but it's fine. We're going to keep it. So our opponent's playing Niv Mizzet Reborn. We've all seen it. We all know it. It's the 5-colour commander. Allows you to do some interesting things. We drew Tome of Legends, which hopefully allows us to find our 4th white ahead of turn 4. Opponent's mana's exactly where they need it to be, so it's getting quite scary. So as far as the removal in our opponent's deck is concerned, really the only thing we have to worry about are the board wipes, which are not targeted or damage based. Oh, Fire's Invention, oh dear. And also non-targeted removal as well, things like the Rakdos one. Angrath's Rampage? That's the one, right? Ew. Alright. So, opponent's got Niv Mizzet next turn, which probably means we lose. Because we probably can't go fast enough, or at least I don't think we can. If we had, like, Heliod's Intervention open to kill Arcane Signet and Fire's Invention, that would be pretty nice, but it's just a little bit too much, I think, especially if this hits really well. Which, Growth Spiral, Deafening Clarion, Saheeli, Dream Trawler, and Escape to the Wild seems like a pretty damn good hit to me. Yep. And that's how Niv Mizzet win. We need a white sauce, otherwise this game's just over. Bit of a shame. It's like we can't even play Outlaws Merriment because we don't have the double white. Why can't it be double red? Dang it. I'm not going to say it's impossible to win, but it's very improbable with, like, Dream Trawler being an actual thing that they could cast. So, yeah. It just undoes all of the damage we end up doing. Well, we get to find out. We've got our Haktos down. It has protection from everything except for 4-drops. It's very important that you know what the except for means. This is the only thing that can hurt us. Unfortunately, all of our board wipes that are good are in this slot, which is why we don't really like seeing it. But here we are. We're racing. Let the race begin. And let's see where they lead off here. Gonna imagine they put Dream Trawler out, because they don't really need to answer my board, and they can't with a Deafening Clarion. So, what can I really get at this point? I just don't know. Straight up have no idea what I could draw here that matters. I mean, if we got like a Gideon's Triumph online and we got to sack Dream Trawler, that's a dream situation that I don't think is going to actually occur. And they've even got a land, yeah. There's Dream Trawler. Okay, so they're gaining 5 life a turn, I'm dealing 6 life a turn, so they've got 23 turns before they're dead. I don't. I have much less. So that's kind of the situation we find ourselves in. I don't really think there is a combination of cards here that really changes that. So we're going to draw, we're going to see what we find. If we don't find anything good, we're going to scoop it up. Perforos's Intervention will not work. We have to target Dream Trawler and they can give it hexproof essentially. So yeah, we've lost. Let's go for the next game. Alrighty then, we're in, and we've got lots of board wipes, a little bit of card advantage, and a decent enough mana base to start off with here, so we're going to keep this one. Our opponent's playing Eutropia, the twice favoured, 3 mana 2/2 with Constellation, which says whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you put a counter on a creature, and that creature gains flying until the end of the turn. I find my opponent's commander to be quite underwhelming, to be honest, so we're going to see what goes on here. They've got a Leyline of Anticipation, and we've drawn a perfect land here. Boros Guildgate on turn 1. It's best time for tap lands, obviously, and it is guaranteed we've got the fixed mana for a turn 4 Haktos. We're going to go with Castle Embereth here, because it is also a tap land. Obviously not going to do as much good there. Opponent's really colour screwed, which is unfortunate. I don't really want to see that from my opponent. I want them to actually have a chance of winning here. So we're going to go with Furious Rise. If they've got Counter Magic, it's a decent enough card to hit. But I dare say they probably want to save it for Haktos, because they're not going to be able to race a Haktos, I'm pretty sure. Short of them having some sort of life gain synergy, which I don't even know if it's in a Simic colour like this deck. So, yeah, Furious Rise gets negated. That's one part of our card advantage. There's Chandra, which can be card advantage in itself. So we've got the double white, we've got the double red already. Doesn't matter which land we play. So we're just going to go for it, see if Haktos resolves. Do they have a Tail's End or anything of that sort? So far, it kind of looks like our opponent's very much on the let's just counter everything plan. And that works when you've got only blue lands, but it resolves. Okay, so we got protection from everything except for 2s. Got to keep that in mind. That gives us protection from all of our board wipes, because ours are 3s and 4s. Let's swing first and see what happens. They could have Brazen Borrower. That is one card that can definitely interact with Haktos here, but it's not really a good interaction since we can just replay Haktos. And do we play Chandra? I mean, yeah, why not? Just play her out. Put a loyalty counter on her. If our opponent's got counter magic, it's got to be negate-styled magic. Only countering non-creatures, because you don't let Haktos resolve. Unless you have disperses and things like that. So, loyalty counter on Chandra. Can use her later to recur these 3 drops with her -2. And opponent finally gets the green source they need to play their Eutropia. That does tap them out though, and allows us to do probably like a Deafening Clarion, gain 6 life and kill their commander. I think that's perfectly fine by me. We've got protection from everything but 2 drops, so this 3 damage here is not going to deal any damage to Haktos. Very much one-sided. Now we're going to gain 6 life, and we're going to use Chandra to make 2 elementals. And get in for some damage. There we go. If they play another Eutropia here, then we've got the Flame Sweep, which on a 2/2 is pretty good, unless they can get a enchantment on it in time, which obviously we know they can't. So this is kind of how we beat our opponent's decks, you know? We just keep sweeping our opponent's stuff away, so it doesn't matter. So let's get that out of the way. And we've got Haktos coming in for 6, 7, 8 with the 2 elementals, 9, 10, 11 with the Embereth here. So we've actually got lethal right here and now. And that'll do it. That's lethal. And that's how you want to play Haktos. Alrighty then, we are in, and this hand seems perfectly fine. We've got the Boros Locket, which allows us to have the mana we need to play Haktos on our 4th turn, so it's not too bad. The rest of it, kind of take it or leave it. I guess Cavalier of Dawn with our 3 white mana here is okay as well. Since our opponent's playing some sort of self-mill strategy, I don't really expect too much interaction from our opponent, short of maybe counter magic and things like that, which we can absolutely play around. So yeah, they're going to be on self-mill, so the things that have really come out of this particular deck are like Thassa's for blinks on mono blue. It's pretty decent at doing that kind of thing. We do not want to use Perforos's intervention for 0. Yeah, so our opponent's main source of interaction is going to be bounce spells like Brazen Borrower, and counter magic as well, like Tail's End and Sinister Sabotage and things like that. So we've really got to make sure that we've got our Haktos coming down at a time when our opponent can't really interact with it. So maybe we wait until our opponent's played their Jace and tapped out before we play our Haktos and get in for enough there. Playing Interplane of Beacon and Khan's Bastion, trying to get 1 life off of Jace doesn't necessarily seem worth this card being run, to be honest. But to each his own. They might be running... Ooh, that resolved very quickly. It's probably because they don't have double blue here, and this is one of the reasons why I'm not necessarily sure that Interplanar Beacon is a good choice. So, opponent goes with Jace. And this is perfect time to put down Haktos. The cards that we don't want to see, or the number we don't want to see on Haktos, is going to be 2. Because that's where most of the bounce magic's going to be hidden. And I think that's the only way that they can really deal with Haktos here. So, yeah, we don't want any 1 mana of particular colours. We got protection from every colour except for 3. So if our opponent plays any 3 drops that we want to push past, we're going to have to remove them. We do have Elspeth Conquers Death, Lava Coil, Conclave Tribunal, and Solar Blaze in order to deal with this, so... Opponent plays a Flux Channeler, which is a 3-drop, and starts self-milling themselves with a Merfolk Secret Keeper. Never really went into Jace Wielder of Mysteries. He's a 4-mana, 6 loyalty Planeswalker. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. So it's an alternative win con kind of Planeswalker. The tick-up is a draw a card and mill 2, and then the -8, which we don't want our opponent to do, is draw 7 cards, and then the passive basically kicks in. So we need to kill Flux Channeler, and we do need to kill Jace. We can do both of those things easily enough, I think. So we can go Lava Coil to kill Flux Channeler. And we can't quite get to Conclave Tribunal. So we want to kill this because it can block Haktos. I mean, I guess we could just attack Jace and leave it at that. Less answers they have, the better. We could go for enough to kill him right now with the Perforos's intervention as a 2. I guess that's fine, but I kind of like it as removal all the same. I'm going to hit him to 1. I think if it's at 1, we don't really have to care. Alright, let's pass at that. So, Jace is never going to be drawing those cards. He does get to self-mill, which is... it's okay. They get to draw 2 cards a turn. Cavalier is not blockable. So we get to swing at our opponent. I think they'll be dead by the time that Jace is relevant. I don't know if they could really mill themselves in time. We've got Cavaliers and Conclave Tribunals for Jace as well, so... It's possible we could go for like an Elspeth Conquers Death here and just get rid of Cavalier of Gales just for the sake of it. Birth of Meletus, which is effectively a 1-mana card, which we should probably play, because we get to make a land drop off of this anyway, so there's no trouble there. Yeah, I guess we're going to go Birth of Meletus. Grab a Plains and thin the deck. And then we've got options. I think we want to get rid of Cavalier of Gales. It makes non-creature spells on Chapter 2 as well very relevant, but the third chapter's not really going to do anything. So there's an argument maybe for going Cavalier of Gales instead, or Cavalier of Dawn on Cavalier of Gales. That kind of helps us a little bit in terms of having something for Elspeth Conquers Death, but I don't expect this to die, so, you know, we're just going to get rid of it this way. It's exile as well, so it doesn't get that scry 2 and shuffle. Maybe my opponent might be relying on that. Alright, so hit our opponent for 6, and pass the turn. Next turn, most of their deck is going to be a little bit difficult to cast because there's a 2-mana tax on non-creature spells next turn, which is very good for us. It also allows us maybe to resolve something nice as well. Opponent gets a Narcomoeba, which is a 2-drop, which means we have protection from it. So we don't have to worry about that. They do have a Blast Zone. This is true. But this is a 0-drop, so it doesn't matter, actually, because this is destroy each non-land permanent. It's not actually targeting Haktos, so yeah, they could put that up to 4 if they really wanted to. Alright, so all their spells cost 2 more this turn, and on my opponent's turn. I think we go with Chandra Fire Artisan. It just increases the clock, gives us card advantage. It's really nice overall. It is a 4-drop, though. That would be the issue. Is that my opponent can... Well, they only go up to 3 next turn, so we get 2 hits with this Chandra, so that's fine, right? Let's just get a Chandra down. Most counterspells are going to cost 5 here, so if they want to tick up their Blast Zone, they're going to have to let this tick over. And yeah, let's get in with Chandra, see what we get. Outlaw's Merriment would have been really nice as speeding up the clock here. But this is fine. Let's get in with Haktos at our opponent's face, and I think we're going to Conclave... No, we're not going to Conclave Tribunal. Again, all of our stuff is 4-drops. It's really awkward, actually. Really damn awkward. So, yeah, this has basically done its job now. It's not going to do anything good. We can play a Cavalier on the off chance that it somehow manages to die. Maybe we kill it or something like that, and then we can get back the Elspeth Conquers Death again. Gonna go with a Thassa, which is animated. And then they can put a counter on Blast Zone to hit Haktos soon. I don't actually remember if we're running Field of Ruin, but I think we are. That would be very crucial here. Opponent's at 24 cards left. And if I were my opponent, I would have flickered Narcomoeba after attacking, because obviously that's a thing we can do. Alright, so let's see what this Chandra can do. Finds us a land drop, that's nice. We can play Chandra Awakened Inferno here, which is not going to die, and we get to start ticking up with that, which is very good. I think that is exactly what we want to do. Yeah. Let's get this ticking. And our opponent has to take 4 of their mana here to do Blast Zone shenanigans. So there are 8, a virtual 7 with Chandra. We've got a blocker for the Thassa, but they can pay 4 if they really wanted to. Okay, destroy all 4 drops, which includes our opponent's Jace, Wielder of Mysteries as well. Will not destroy Thassa, but it will... we want to go Command Zone, because our Elspeth Conquers Death is already gone. So one way of reanimating Haktos, actually, is the Elspeth Conquers Death. I wouldn't advise doing it, though, since it actually puts you in a situation where if they destroy it, you can't get your Haktos back, and that is your primary and main way of actually winning the game. So that's something to keep in mind. Ether Gust on Chandra. Okay, we're going to take the action, put her on top. Opponent is getting pinged 1 a turn, and now that they're in this situation where they don't really have the answer to Chandra, not that they could anyway, since she's uncounterable, we get to just bring her right back down and stick another emblem on our opponent. And again, I don't know if they can really come back from that. So yeah, they finally attack him with Narcomoeba and then flicker it back, giving it pseudo vigilance. We are going to play Chandra again and give our opponent an extra emblem. So they're taking 2 a turn. I reckon we can race this just fine. And yep, let's pass the turn. We don't need Haktos if we've got Chandra emblems ticking. Although, either one would be just fine, I think. I haven't really done the math, but it's roughly about the same amount of turns they've got to get going here. Nyx Lotus tapped. They had the ability to kill my Chandra there. And if they didn't play the Nyx Lotus, they could tap with Thassa. And I wouldn't have this blocker. Oh, can this attack? Oh, this can't attack, right? No, never mind. Alright. Let's keep Chandra on a nice loyalty. And opponent has nothing good to flicker, so they gave pseudo vigilance to Narcomoeba. I imagine they want Thassa's Oracle to flicker with Thassa here. That's kind of like the dream card here. So let's put another counter on. They're now taking 3 damage a turn. And do I have Trample with this? I do have Trample. So I need to deal 2 to them. And they have 9 power. So yeah, this needs to be an 11. Which 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not going to be. So yeah, let's just play Haktos then. Get him down, see what number he hits. And our opponent gets to mill. Land for us, Chemisters for them. We have a 3-drop for Haktos. Okay, well, I'm going to use Convoke here and Haktos. And the best chance our opponent has of winning is with Thassa, so we're going to get rid of that. And see what our opponent can do. They're taking 3, so they are dead next turn. No matter what. So they need to mill themselves, and they're at 20 cards right now. 19. They need to play Jace and draw 19 cards. Or have a devotion of 19 when they play Thassa's Oracle. None of those are very likely to happen at all. I do mention this a lot, but this is kind of the main problem with mono-coloured commanders and why I don't think they're really all that viable, apart from mono-black. It's the reason that our opponent's not really done anything to stop us is because mono-blue doesn't have very good ways of interacting with your opponent. They have bounce spells and they have counter spells. If they don't have bounce spells for something specific, because there aren't that many literal disperse effects at the moment in Standard. So you're in a little bit of a pickle. I think Theros gave us another one. I saw it go into my opponent's graveyard earlier. But most of them are just like return creature. Like Stern Dismissal, that's the one. Creature or enchantment. That's a little bit better, but most of them are now bounce creature. So if your opponent plays a Planeswalker, you've only got like Brazen Borrower to really work with, or Flood of Tears, things like that. So you're really limited on your interaction with your opponent. Green kind of has Stompy, but it's very restrictive other than that. You can kind of Kenrith's Transformation, your opponent's creature-based commander. It turns it into a 3-3, which is not as good as the blue, which has turned into a 1-1 with Kasmina's Transmutation. So there's a little bit of interaction, but I think other than black, which has the benefit of having, like, literal card removal. Ooh, an X12. Did they just win? Wow. Oh, wow, what happened there? They actually won. Huh. I guess they had lots of mana and found the perfect piece. Shut up, Tom. Shut up.